Welcome to Sports Caviar, everyone. I'm one of your hosts, Javi, and I'm joined by Birn Nasty.
Hobby, what's going on today? How we doing? How we feeling? Pretty
I'm
good?
feeling fantastic. Yeah,
That's all I
FSU
need.
wins, so I feel good.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah, excited to be here. And we got our boy Bajan over there. How we doing?
Gentlemen, it's always a terrific Tuesday with you two and our sports caviar followers. Great to be here. Excited for tonight's program. Got a great one in store for you.
So let's get to it. Last weekend, obviously, we're going to talk about a ton of sports here. But last weekend, I had a really good opportunity to go on a nice little date night with my wife. We went to go see Kevin James. And I would say that it was a really funny show. Dr. Phillips Center, if you've never been there, beautiful venue to take a nice little date to. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was going to be.
That's the King of Queens, right? The meme that's going around. Is that him? Or no?
Yeah.
That's King of Queen.
Perfect
But,
timing. Did he just stand up there in that pose for an hour and a half? Or
Yeah. I would have thought he would have mentioned it or something, but he didn't even talk about the meme for some reason.
But was he funny? It was pretty
He
good.
was
Pretty good
he
show.
ended up being really funny. Yeah.
Good.
We were wondering if it was going to be maybe a little cheesy, but he actually ended up being really funny. It was a really good show. But it was funny because I was texting Birn and a couple of our other buddies, and I was like, "Hey guys, I can't respond to your text right now because I'm on a date." And they're like, "You're on a date? Who are you on a date with?" And I'm like,
what do we need to know?
With my wife."
You got to date your wife. Got to date your wife.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty
I'll take
funny.
notes.
Yeah, and then I was thinking to myself, I was like, "Man, Birn might actually be on a real date or something." And then I just started thinking about dating in general and spiraling. So I was wondering, I was like, "Okay, I gotta ask Birn if there's ever
Mm.
been a situation where he was on a date and things took a real big turn and he had to make an excuse to get out of the date early or something." Did that ever happen to you, Birn?
I let's just be I'll be honest. I've had some very difficult dates, some very strange ones, some very bad ones. But I am not the guy that has left, and I've learned that in moving forward that you don't go on like a full dinner and drinks date. Like you start off with your coffee, drinks, something small so you can move on quickly and pivot.
Progress. Yeah.
But I was always the guy that say, "Look, I'll take you out to dinner and have some drinks," and just assuming that's going to be a good one. And but no, I've definitely had my share.
When
I
you
mean, I
do
can
when you do
definitely.
the dinner, when you do the full
Mhm.
dinner thing, are you committed to a certain amount of time on those situations?
I'd like to think that typically, if things are going well, you try and expand it and say, I'll have a dinner, a couple drinks. And then if it's going well, you're like, hey, you want to grab like a quick nightcap next door or somewhere down the road just to have one more drink? Or you just say, all right, it's time to get going. I really appreciate it.
Mm.
But
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
you've got to find an
awkward, that,
exit. But I'm not the best at doing a quick exit. I usually have to let the night drag out and the meal to finish up and pay it off and call it a night. I have one that really was bad, like bad.
do share.
I don't know. I don't know if the
Yeah.
listeners want to hear this one, but yeah,
Do tell. I'm
it
intrigued.
was it was one of those dating apps. It's probably been six years, maybe something like that. But met on one of those dating apps, connected, went towards her area, which was about 45, 50 minutes from me. But we went
Ooh.
downtown.
Mm.
Yeah, downtown to a local spot that she was familiar with. She set the location, which probably was a first red flag that I did not check the
The
menu.
menu. How many
Um,
dollar signs? Like $3 to $4 signs? That's it
yeah,
on the Yelp.
little bit of a concern
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
but yeah, I showed up on time. She showed up 15 minutes early.
Early. The lady was
Yeah,
there waiting for you.
yeah.
Okay.
So she was there waiting for me. I text her. I say, I've arrived. She goes, "Oh, I've already been here." I was like, "Oh, I'm so
She order
sorry."
a drink already? Was she just having water, or did she go ahead and
Uh,
order for herself?
that's the great thing. So she was at the table already 2 samples in from the server. She was going through some red wine choices, and they just weren't to her liking. And another sample comes out. He brings another one. No, no, not good. Finally, the 4th time, she decided that was good enough for her. And as I'm looking over the menu, ready to order my beer or cocktail, she decided to go with the words, we'll take a bottle. And I was like,
Oh, to the bottle service.
I'm
Wow.
like, okay. I was like, you know what? I guess I'll be drinking wine tonight. So I pivoted, went to wine, and they brought that out. So we obviously had that. But she proceeded to take some things out of her purse, and one was an antacid. Apparently, wine can get her a little upset there.
Yes.
So she
You want to
popped,
prepare. You got to prepare.
but the best was that red wine stains your teeth, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever you have in
Great
your
teeth.
mouth.
Yeah.
And she chose to take out her and prop those right down on the table.
Attractive.
Pop the antacids, and then proceeded to drink the
Set in the
wine.
mood.
And
How
then
old was she? 64? What's going on?
She goes, cheers. I'm like, I don't really think that this is a cheers moment. I'm not feeling good about this. But yeah, but then the whole dinner, she ordered whatever she wanted. Obviously, I ordered what I wanted. And the whole dinner was literally about her family. And it was one of those things like, hey, I would ask questions like, hey, how many siblings do you have? And she'd say, she's like, 2. And I'm like, you wait for, what about you? Nope. So I
No.
just was like,
Right.
well, I have 4. This is what I got going on in my life. But she proceeded to tell me that her dad is some big shot attorney and that he's put a lot of bad people away, but now he's currently under like witness protection in Colorado somewhere. Like it was
She
just
probably
crazy.
shouldn't
But
be sharing that.
right?
Yeah. Is
That's
that
what
a
I was like,
date one? Wow.
but
I don't know
literally
if
the
it's
whole
date
date,
2 or 3.
yeah, it was the whole day was about her and what her family does, and that her family's just very high up and does very well for themselves. She asked not one question about me or my life or what I do or where I am or where I'm from, whatever, nothing. And then the bill showed up and I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
So
nice. Classic.
classic. And I looked at the bill and it was a $95 bottle of wine. And
Wow.
it was
I don't drink that today. Wow. Okay.
It was
How many Boone's Farm is that? That's a lot. $95. Wow. Oh.
Bajan, I would have preferred a Boone's Farm all day, but yeah, I think the bill was like $197 plus tip. It was insane.
This is 6 years ago. That's $350 in today's money.
And,
Oh, yeah.
And she, and so the date's over, and I'm just like, hey, yeah, I had a great time. It was very nice. She goes, bye, and then just out into the darkness. And I never saw her again, never heard from her again. And I'm not upset about it.
No.
Not thank you
Probably
for dinner. Not thank you for dinner.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No gratitude.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Did she take
So-
leftovers with her?
Oh no, she freebased it all. She finished that bad boy. Yeah, she was.
She
was like,
didn't leave hungry. Okay.
No. and
Dessert?
She no, yeah, she ordered like an ice cream tiramisu type. I don't know, what is that? Tiramisu, is that what it is? Is that the cake
Yeah,
style?
tiramisu.
Like an
yeah.
ice cream on top, like a scoop.
Wow.
It was a great time. Yep. I learned a
Sounds
lot.
like it.
Learned a lot on
Then you had to
what
drive
not
an
to do.
hour home.
And
Yeah.
I drove an hour home.
Man.
Wondering, what did I just do? What did I just
Yeah.
encounter?
What a waste
So
of
yeah,
time.
I will tell you, dating apps they were and probably still are. They're a challenge now. But yeah, it
Was she good looking?
she was cute. She was cute until I saw her personality, and then I realized that maybe we're not a fit.
Yeah, you were like, I think I can probably tell why you're single right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she might.
yeah.
I bet you if you're out there, I forget your name to be honest, but I bet you she's still
Probably for
single.
the best. She's
Yeah,
in a witness protection program. It wasn't her name anyway, Birn. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. She probably gave me a fake name. So
Yeah.
she's probably out in Colorado spending some time with her dad and all of his mafia friends or whatever she's got going on. So
Wow.
I wish her the best. Great job. But that's probably my worst dating story for sure.
Okay. That's a
Oh,
waste
my.
of time, at least. It was definitely a waste of time, but it wasn't like a complete and utter disaster.
No, I just wish I wouldn't have spent $200+ on a
financially,
on a
disaster.
wasted
Wow.
date. And I really
That's
wanted the beer. They had a good IPA on tap, and I was ready to order. And then when you order a bottle of wine, I just assume that I have to be a
you
part of
just
that.
got to drink wine. Yeah.
The only thing worse
So-
is what she would have been like, that's actually the bottles for me. You get what you want. I would have. The next move I was waiting for.
She probably had 3 of the glasses. I think I only had 1. Yeah, that's.
Wow.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Birn. You're a saint, Birn. Saint Birn.
St. Bernardine. Okay, so there was a couple things about Jim Harbaugh this past week where
Mhm.
obviously everybody knows that Michigan's under investigation right now. And I thought this was a little bit interesting because it was linking the initial story came from apparently Ryan Day, and he has a brother who's like a private investigator or something. And they decided to illegally obtain footage from Stallion's computer, is what this is alleged news story was saying. And so Michigan was opening up an investigation into the investigation that the NCAA's investigation is investigating Michigan's Ohio State's Ryan Day's investigation. I was like, okay, if you're Jim Harbaugh, do you just say screw this crap and I'm just gonna go coach the Bears? I'll start with you, Birn.
Oh.
Yeah, I appreciate you starting with me because I might have a few things to say about this, but yeah, I think if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'm like I'm done with this petty stuff. You don't have to worry about the NFL. It's probably time to say goodbye. Hopefully, ride out on a national championship parade because we
Yeah.
do have the team. But I think it's probably time for him to up and go. There's just been too much smoke
Yeah.
within the program over the last couple of years. So but I will say that Michigan, like you said, they're opening up their own investigation, and they're saying that Rutgers and Purdue and Ohio State were sharing the stolen signs from Michigan during the 2022 season. That Purdue, because Michigan was playing Purdue in the Big Ten championship, that Purdue was giving them I think received the offensive signals from Rutgers and the defensive signals from Ohio State. So it's just like a he said, she said. It's a disaster. It's a bad look, but I will say Michigan beat Purdue that year. I don't know. It was like 43-22, something like that. We didn't need the signals. And obviously Purdue, even with the signals, couldn't do anything against us. At the end of the day, long story short, I think Jim Harbaugh, I think this is probably his last season, but I do hope, I don't think anything's going to happen this year, suspension wise, even though they're talking, the Big Ten is talking. But I think Michigan will be just fine for this season. And then I think Harbaugh exits with all of his studs.
Yeah, he's got, I think it might depend on how you guys finish the season on whether or not he's going to make the jump or not. I could see if you win a national championship, one way or another, that could end up being what he needed to leave. But you see it with Pete Carroll. You saw it with Pete Carroll. You saw it with Jim Tressel. Like these coaches, they start to smell the trouble, and they're like, "All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out." Bijan, you think he's better off going to the NFL?
I don't know that always turns out well. Didn't work for Saban. Certainly didn't work for Urban Meyer. We've seen how both of those movies end not well.
Yeah.
I think Khakis, here's what I like that he's doing. He's galvanizing this to be villains now. So just going on you know what? We are the bad guys. How about that? What a show we have tonight. We've got witness protection. We've got PIs. This is a very intriguing program right off the top. I can just see Ryan Day's brother with a mustache and a great Honolulu shirt. This is going to make a tremendous Netflix documentary. Providence, watch it, man. This is terrific. I like what he's doing. I think they're going to use this as motivation. I think that locker room is galvanized. I'd watch out for Michigan. I think this is going to, I don't know if he needs to leave because if he wins a title, maybe all this goes away. Maybe it gets louder. I don't know. But I think they use this for the good. I think Penn State, we'll talk about this later in the program, in a lot of trouble this weekend.
Yeah, I think that depending on what they find from Stallion's computer, obviously.
What's a Stallion's computer? Is this a person's name or is it a racehorse? What's a Stallion's computer?
Yeah,
he's TVG.
He's on the staff for Michigan, right?
Let's make sure. Yeah, Connor Stallion. He was. He has since resigned. But let's also remember that it's allegedly been illegally obtained. Is that admissible?
Not admissible.
I think
he must have
It's
quit.
not the court of law. It's they found it.
If the tape doesn't fit, it might be beta and it's VHS. It might not work.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it really depends. I guarantee there's some stuff on that. Whatever they found, I think is significant for Michigan on whatever it was that he did, for sure. I think. But I don't know. It could end up meaning that Harbaugh has to leave. It might.
I think, look, if they had some wrongdoings, yes, I get it. Yeah, but it's not going to be this is not like a major violation where it's going to be vacating wins and significant suspensions. It's a slap in the hand. Get a few games.
Vacating
call it a
wins
day.
is a slap in the hand anyway. Who cares?
Yeah,
about
no one
that crap?
cares. No one.
We didn't
no
win a
one's
national
going to get
championship.
SMU.
We don't care.
Yeah, even if you win a national championship and then 5 years later they take it away, it's who cares?
Oh,
We
okay.
still remember the Fab Four, baby.
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's Reggie Bush's Heisman. Do you think that he didn't win the Heisman just because they took away the trophy?
They should give
You
that
know?
back to him. Now they actually do pay players.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I think you might be right there, Birn.
That's just like anybody that's been in jail for selling marijuana and that it's legal now. Should they be out of jail?
Probably our own podcast on that.
We'll do a separate podcast.
Yeah, if they change the law, that means everybody that was tried on it earlier should be guilty, should be innocent. Were you guys surprised? I'll start with you on this, Bijan. Bama takes down LSU in convincing fashion. Were you surprised by that at all?
Clearly I was because I didn't pick them. Once again, if you went with my pick, I think I went 500 last week or close to it. So not
Yeah.
as bad, but not as
Pretty
good
good.
as Birn. Let's just 7-0 for Birn. I know we're going to get to this, but give credit to where credit is due. Hot dog eating champion, points champion. This is Birn. Living the prime of his life right here. No, it doesn't surprise me that I think that LSU tied at half with them, and then Bama just proved to be too much. Outscored on 21-7 in the second half. Milroe, what I love about Saban is he empowers his players to do what they do. So 4 rushing touchdowns, 375 total yards of offense from Milroe. Incredible performance on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa. Not surprised, but I certainly didn't pick it.
Yeah, so Birn, I know that you picked that game. I know you were not surprised by it. They ended up winning by 2 touchdowns. I was surprised by the score, but my question to you is, do you think the updated rankings came out tonight? There really was like hardly any change at all, really.
Mhm.
Do you think that Bama, after that win, they should have been the highest ranked one-loss team?
And that's where it's tough because you go to that head-to-head, right? So they kept Texas in front of them, which I understand today, but Alabama has been slowly getting better, and they are right there as probably the best one-loss team. Oregon
I
looks
think they
stout,
are.
but I will say the one thing about Oregon and why I still think that maybe they would be ahead of Alabama. I think you can move Alabama ahead of Texas for sure, but Oregon should have beat Washington. Like they should be undefeated.
Yep.
I get it. The game was played.
You got to
They
close the
didn't.
deal.
You got to close the deal.
Yep.
But they were the better team that day, in my opinion. But I think Alabama should be 6 right now. But I think Alabama, again, like I said last week, I think they have the path. And right now, I'd be scared to play Alabama. And just like Bijan said, Saban has found a way to get Milroe to play his game, and they're allowing him to play within his skill set. He had 155 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns.
Incredible. It's like a 3 seconds, and then he takes off as nothing's there.
Yep.
It's unguardable at this point. It's really hard to spot.
So I think Alabama's playing some of their best football all season. They look really good. I get that Jaden was out in the 4th, but 21 unanswered from 3rd quarter to 4th. I think Alabama, maybe the score would have been a touchdown, but I still think Alabama pulls that out. But yeah.
Do you think that Daniels was your Heisman? He was your Heisman guy last week.
He was. I still think he's got a chance to pad those stats, but 3 losses is going to hurt him.
I think it's funny that who's
it going to be, Bo Nix?
Heisman. I think it's funny that one week he's running the hype. He's riding the hype train there for the number 1 Heisman guy. One game later, he's completely out of the whole discussion.
So fickle. Fickle.
That's crazy, man. One game. Do you guys think that? Okay, I'll start with you on this, Birn. You saw on Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers was tossing the ball around, right? In warmups and stuff, and he was taking some 3-step drops, and he was getting loose. And I was like, I don't think he should try to come back. But do you think he should try?
Did you hear what he said to Derwin James?
No.
I guess that somebody, maybe somebody picked it up, but I think Derwin asked, "What's your deal when you come back?" And he goes, "Give me a few weeks."
Yeah.
Wow. But in my opinion, no, I don't think he should. The Jets, I don't think they make the playoffs, but they're not that far off.
They're not out of it. Yeah.
They're not out of it, but what are they, 4-5? Is that right?
4-5, tough division. They need an offensive line more than they need a quarterback. That
Yeah,
offensive line is matadors. Whew.
Yeah, I don't see A-Rod being the savior that gets him over the hump. And I don't know what the difficulty is if you tear that thing again, like re-aggravate it, his career could be over. So I don't know. Take the rest of the year off. Chances are the Jets aren't going to make the playoffs with or without you. Go ahead and let's stock up some talent, maybe get a higher pick and move on and take over next year and go to the promised land and then retire.
Yeah, so Bijan, do you think that he's doing it because he just has the ego the size of two Brett Favres?
I think that's part of it. I also think he is a competitor. And I think he believes in the power of intention or whatever his beliefs are. And good for him. What a story this would be for any media market, especially New York. But they need help on the offensive line more than they do at quarterback. And I would be worried with that offensive line that you're going to take a lot of hits. Is Zach Wilson terrific? No, he's not. But he had no time to throw last night. He couldn't even throw check downs to his receivers other than Carter, I think, caught 5 balls on the last drive because no one cared. But other than that, it really just under duress the entire evening. Some bad turnovers. Defense, it's a shame, too, because this defense is world-class with those corners and secondary. So you never know. Maybe they're at 8-7, or is it a 7-7 you're drinking, by the way, Birn? But 7-7 at some point, and maybe they say, all right, Raj.
Yeah, I don't think he should try. Even if he comes back, the Jets aren't going to do anything. Come on, let's be realistic here. Now, if he would have played the whole season, they might have gelled by now and everything. They would have had a legitimate chance. But if he comes back in week 13, it's too late. The season's over. Only reason why he would do it is just to say, hey, I just wanted to prove to you guys that I could do it.
Yeah.
And that's it. It has nothing to do with the team or anything. It's all like just a point to himself, in my opinion. All right, so let's go to college football here. A couple teams in a little bit of turmoil in the state of Florida. And I'm obviously going to start with Bijan on this one. So you have the almighty Gators who were supposed to get their bowl eligibility dub last Saturday. They go down to Arkansas. They have LSU, Missouri, and Florida State left. Where are the Gators? Where are the Gator fan base minds at right now? And if do you see yourselves winning another game to get to a bowl?
It's going to be difficult, but I think when you think overall, when I look at the season, 6 wins was the max. I think that would have been our peak, our apex would have been 6. I think the Vegas line was 5.5, perhaps maybe 6. So yes, disappointing way to lose a ball game, but I'm excited about what's coming. We really showed up in that game. We got the ball back after Arkansas tied it with 45 seconds. We went over 50 yards in 42 seconds and set up a game-winning kick. Missing a kick is not on the coach. It's not on the program. It's on a sophomore kicker that pushed it 3 feet wide. That has nothing to say about the freshmen and collected sophomores that moved it down the field and didn't give up. We lost in overtime. Is it a terrific loss? No. Am I happy about it? No. Did I cry? Probably. But am I thinking about next year and what the program is building with the class coming in? I am. And that's the story. If we go to a bowl, what bowl are we going to go to? December 23rd? Does it matter anyway? The only thing we would miss out on is those additional bowl practices, which are helpful. But other than that, we're a 6-win team in a max anyway. Do I think we can win one of those 3 games? Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Oh, no, it's not.
Burns. Okay, so what do you think Gator Nation is feeling right now? And also my second question to that is, if they lose out and they end the season 5-7, do you think that's enough for them, for everybody just to, this is it. You got to get rid of him. Get rid of Napier.
Here's what I love about it, because and Bijan is just the typical Gator fan that they just talked about this drive at the end that we put all this fight and heart into this. It was Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas is not a bad team. Look at the metrics.
Didn't they just score 3 points or 7 points against was it Ole Miss or Miss State or somebody?
I think it was Ole Miss, wasn't it?
It was like, I mean, I get it, but that is a guarantee win at the beginning of the season. If you go through your schedule, that's a
Yeah.
W. And to lose that
Well,
at home with a
yeah.
bowl season, with a bowl bid on the line is, yeah, you can blame the kicker, but blame your D coordinator, blame some offensive calling throughout the game. You can't just put it on that kicker to do that. But I understand you guys have a great recruiting class coming, but you lose 4 straight, that recruiting class may not stick like you guys
Yeah.
are hoping. And I think that's
Yeah.
the concern, is that you guys need to do something in these last 3 games to just give some sort of motivation, some sort of momentum. Hey, look, we're going to just give us till next year. But I do think that the fans are going to come calling and say, hey, is Napier really the guy? Yes, he's done really well recruiting, but it's W's and L's on the field. At the end of the day, as a Florida State fan, we saw it too. We had a rough start with Norvell to start he had to get his right people in, and get the right players. So it can be done. I think Napier gets another year, but I'd still be a little worried. Like, I'm not sold.
I understand.
It seems to me like there was, and you read the message boards and stuff. Who knows if they're a real representation of Gator Nation? I have no idea. Like, it could be Jean as our representation here, and he's all calm, cool, and collective right now.
It's a process. Trust the process. You
He's
guys
like-
did it with Norvell. You just said
Yeah.
it. So it's a process. And Gator fans are not patient. So I'm not a typical Gator fan. I'm not wearing a tank top and jorts, and I'm not yelling for Napier to be fired. So I think it's a process, and I'm excited. DJ Lagaway is a leader. His class, we may lose 1 or 2, but the cavalry is on its way.
Yeah, I think that from an FSU perspective, it's what you want to see is the wheels fell off the wagon before that game happens. I didn't want you guys to beat Arkansas, get bowl eligible, and then maybe somehow beat LSU or Missouri, and then you have this like false sense of confidence going into that game. I don't want that. I want you guys to just be battered and bruised and just think maybe your socks. Like, who cares? That's the demeanor that I want going into that
Well, I
game.
think in hobby, that's why. And here's my thing with the Florida losing that game. Like, that's big and let's just say they continue to lose, and it comes down to Florida State, and Florida still has only 5 wins.
Yeah.
Like, we're already ACC championship bound. We're obviously en route, hopefully, to continue to win and get into the playoffs. But I think if you're going to find motivation and try to inspire your players, as Coach Norvell needs to do it, remember that last game, be like, hey, let's be the team that keeps Florida from getting to a bowl. I think that just, at least there's some sort of motivation with that game. I think that would help.
That's true. It's a rivalry game, so
It's still a rivalry game, but
both teams are going to get up no matter what. But
yeah, they'll be up for it, I think.
Yeah. Okay, and then so on the other side, Miami lost to NC State, which I don't think that was something that anybody had picked. So they have Florida State, Louisville, and Boston College. Boston College is actually 6-3 now. So that's not a gimme win whatsoever for them. They have a possibility of finishing 6-6. In both situations, do you just think that you think Cristobal, no matter what, gets another year? Birn?
yeah, I think he gets one more year. Plus they're paying him a ton of money, so I think he gets one more year. But out of the coaches that I would say has better chance of maybe being let go, Cristobal over Napier, just because if you look at the body of work of what Cristobal's done this year and those questionable calls, and I get that he's blaming. We can blame the OC. We can, at the end of the day, it rises to the top, and it's on him. So I think if they lose out, and depending on if they lose out in fashion, if Florida State comes in there and dominates, Louisville's a really good team. They're tough, and if they dominate, and then to lose to Boston College at the end of the season, I think that could put some fire. That's again like a 4-game losing streak. So I still think he gets another year, but out of those coaches, I would say that Cristobal's probably, his seat's a little hotter.
I would agree. Just look at the body work. I love what you said there, Birn. So with the exception of the Kentucky game, Gators have shown up for every game and been in every game. Yes, we faded down the stretch against Yuga, but that's a really good team. I look at the lack of control over their coaching staff, play calling, just the air of how things are being done. I don't think it's even close. Cristobal, much poorer job than Napier, and not as much hope either. So I'm with you. UM in a lot of trouble. 292 total yards on Saturday. As we just mentioned, Milrow had 375 by himself. So 292 from your team in a 20-6 effortless loss. That's a lot different than a 39-36 overtime loss.
It happened to Willie Taggart too, by the way. So the rivalry games is when coaches tend to seem to get fired, right? So depending on what happens this weekend in Tallahassee, let's say for example, we absolutely wax them, right? I think the line is 15 or something like that. So it's not supposed to be the closest game, but let's say we beat them by 40. You already know what their fan base is going to be saying at that point, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
it's just fire him before he gets on the plane.
Don't let him on the plane. Got to fly coach
Go to the
back.
car.
Yeah.
By the way,
From Hurt.
that would be an interesting bowl game is if Florida did become bowl eligible and they played Miami. I would like to see that actually
Ooh,
in the
I
bowls.
would like to see that too, because I think we would handle them.
I just
Well, I'll
would
tell
like
you
to
a-
see it.
I did see the stat that Florida State, Miami, in their rivalry, anytime the one team was favored by 10 or more, they won. They didn't cover
win.
every time,
Yeah.
but they win.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that's
so. That made me feel a little bit at ease, especially after last week with Florida State, where I was sweating bullets going into the third
But we
quarter
are without
again.
Johnny again, apparently.
I don't like that.
Mm-mm.
But if we have Keon, that's very crucial.
Special player.
Here's a couple of things. We got the time change, daylight saving. Okay, so it's not plural. Everybody in the world, I think, thinks it's daylight savings, right?
I think I always say savings.
Yeah, I thought we were savings. We're savings. We're saving.
It's daylight saving time. It's it's unnatural to say. It's annoying. And then you have to deal with the fact that it gets dark at 4:30 p.m. as well.
Like a vampire. It's tough.
What do you do? How do you get your practices in after school, Bijan?
Just get the lights on. We just crank the cars, Friday night lights. Just leave the trucks and minivans are on full blast. Die-hard batteries are going, and those kids are putting in work.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. I really hope that there was actually a bill that got passed in Florida. Senator Rubio, he passed one bill in the last 12 years, I think, and it was daylight saving time bill, and it got approved by the Florida Senate. It got sent to Washington, and they just refused to look at it. Yeah, he's trying to get it to where we don't have to change the time ever again, and they won't look at it. And I'm like, why not?
Arizona doesn't. I believe Arizona's the only other state that does not.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to move there. I don't know what other options I have.
Great retiring spot. Spring training is their half.
They have good golf there too.
Tremendous golf.
So James Harden goes to the Clippers randomly. Obviously, he was in duress in Philly. Not like it really mattered, I would have to say. But Bijan, him going to the Clippers, so he's going to be paired up with Kawhi and PG. Do you think it adds anything to them?
Only not needed drama and locker room stress if you saw the introduction. I think they're 0-1 with him. Yeah, he scored a ton of points. Who cares? This is not something I want to add to the stew that I'm making or the chili. It's chili season that I'm making. I don't need that ingredient. I don't want that beard hair in there. He is a system, whatever he was talking about. It's a super team. It doesn't make them any better. They're 3-3. Yes, on paper it makes them better, but this is a chemistry game. Yes, talent matters. But NBA, with 5 players on the court, the communication teamwork you have to have is critical. I don't like the move.
I'm going to have to agree. For what they gave up, I don't think that was worth it. To get Harden today, look, you got Paul George, what is he? Or Kawhi's 32, Paul George 33. You got Harden and Westbrook at 34. So you have these 4 guys that are like they were stars in their prime.
Yeah.
They're not in their prime. And the Clippers are going all in for team 2010. It just doesn't make any sense for what they gave up. Do I think that they make it their playoff team? Yeah, probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
But how many games do you think they're actually going to play together? Those 4, like everybody takes days off. They do one
Load management.
yeah, and they're going to do it. So they're playing just to get into the playoffs and then see if they can make a run. I don't like that they made the move. Yeah, it's probably good for TV, but the Clippers are not going to win. So they're not winning the playoffs.
No. Yeah, I don't have any faith in the Clippers in general anyway, because you got the load management crap, but then even let's say Kawhi was actually healthy, even still, he just doesn't play, right? So they have no chemistry. They're not going to have any chemistry at any point in the season. And then they're going to try to just flick the switch and then see what they can do in the playoffs. It's not going to work. They should already understand this. And then you add Harden. I didn't even understand the move at all.
It's a lot of
No.
mouths to feed too.
Oh, so many
Yeah.
mouths to feed. Give me a team. I think they play the Nets on Wednesday night. Give me a team like the Nets. No big names, but that team believes they play together. I think they lose to the Nets on a Wednesday night. Play responsibly.
Ooh,
So you got we were talking about Wembanyama last week, how I was excited to watch him play a little bit. They've lost 2 games now by 40 points each. I just don't even that last week we talked about that. They did it again this week.
Ooh.
They gave up 152 points and
Wow.
lost by 40.
Wembanyama
Wow.
can't guard every position.
That is Greg Popovich still the coach? What is it? He must
Why?
be. How is he allowing his team to give up 152 points?
He's the
Yeah,
Bill
this is,
Belichick of the NBA.
This is going to take some time. They were the worst defensive team in basketball last year. That's not going to change, to Bernie's point, with one large mantis. Is he a game changer? Yes, but it's a philosophy. It's a buy-in on that end of the floor. They've got a lot of really good offensive young weapons. I think they'll get better defensively. It's hard not to when you're giving up 152, but you don't want 2 40-point losses. That's never good.
Oh my God. I couldn't even believe my eyes when I saw that. The Lakers are 3-4 right now. You think they make the playoffs no matter what, Birn?
I do. At the end of the day, you still have Ian LeBron. Yeah, I still think they make the playoffs.
Just talk about
but
staying
it's-
healthy though.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
gonna be the same thing as the Clippers, but they're a 5, 6, 7 seed. They'll find some streaks where they win 4 or 5 in a row, 6 in a row. But they're the California teams I'm not worried about.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that if you remember correctly, last year they didn't make the actual playoffs. They had to go through the play-in tournament.
The play-in, yeah.
Yeah. And then they made a run. I guess they could do it again, but I just
Who'd the
don't
Knicks
have
just
any
beat?
confidence. The Knicks have beaten everybody. The Knicks are the best team in the NBA.
But did they just beat that? I think they just beat. I thought they just beat a top West team. No, maybe I missed that.
Possibly. The Knicks, I think, are hovering around 500 right now, though. In baseball news, I don't know if you guys actually care, or I don't know if anybody cares about this, but they announced the Golden Glove Awards and a couple key names that I saw. You guys could throw in some other ones if you saw. But I thought that Volpe for my Yanks was pretty interesting just because he's a rookie. And then Garcia from the Rangers got one. Tatis got one that was pretty good for him coming after all that turmoil he was under. Ke'Bryan Hayes, the only reason why I thought that was cool is because he's the first person to win the Golden Glove instead of Arenado in a decade.
It's incredible. Just speaks to Arenado's preparation, consummate pro. But Brian Hayes is special. If he can stay on the field, all the tools. I saw him in person in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
His preparation before each pitch, before each batter is impeccable. Happy to see that for him, and really time to recognize Arenado for a decade of dominance at the hot corner.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a pretty good recognition of what you do on the field and how you like Bajan said, how the preparedness. And Arenado, that's insane.
Oof.
That's a pretty crazy stat. That
Decade? Yeah.
a decade, and he finally somebody's taken over. But yeah, hats off. To
I
all
wonder,
those guys.
you think he was mad?
Oh, he was. Oh, it's a competitor.
He's a-
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, 100%.
He was like, "I
He's-
made no errors all season. How would I
like,
get
how
that?"
the
He's
hell would
already
I
sent
not-
a highlight reel. He sent the highlight reel to the commissioner immediately, I'm sure. Like, did you miss these
Yeah.
plays?
Yeah,
And I'm sure the governor is probably writing a letter to the commissioner, and
yeah. They only make $25,000 to $50,000 by winning a Gold Glove.
That's lower than I thought, for sure.
It's nothing in their world. That is nothing
That's a dinner. That's if they're single, that's a Bernie dinner gone wrong.
after taxes. That is, oh my
But-
goodness.
for Nolan, it's nothing. But for some of those rookies, they're still
Volpe?
on some.
Yeah.
They're still on some lower. It's still hundreds of thousands, but at the end of the day, maybe in the small millions. But I mean, 25, 50,000 is still a nice little bonus.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's nothing in the world of the major leagues. Are you nuts? Bryce Harper, his sign-on bonus was like $700 million.